Today's title is What is the Cause of Human Misery? The many unfortunate problems that humans have. And the top conclusion that we have traced to the source of the problem is so simple. It can be concluded as the relationship with the Lord God has been broken. There is no Spirit of the Lord God, and the Spirit of the Lord God has left. So is this a problem only in today's times?
No, this problem is not unique to today's times, and it's not just our ancestors.
Then how far do we have to go up?
This problem first began with Adam and Hawa, the first human beings in the Bible. It also continues in 2023, where we live, and unfortunately it will continue as long as history continues.
What is the cause of this fundamental problem that happened to the first humans, Adam and Hawa?
Yes, if you look at this cause, the story of this incident is shown in Genesis 3:1-6. This passage is the most important content from the perspective of our human beings.
Please explain the phrase in detail.
Yes, there's a snake in this passage, but there's an event that already happened before this passage. This case is not shown here, but it's a very important event. You need to look at this in 3 dimensions.
What kind of incident is that?
Yes, the massive Satan has already taken full control of this snake and enslaved it.
So what happened?
This snake approaches Hawa intentionally, deliberately, and maliciously. It's not actually approached by this snake. It's approached by Satan.
And?
So this snake asks Hawa a seductive, deadly question beautifully wrapped through a series of processes.
So what happened?
Through this fatal question, the thoughts already in Hawa's mind combine with his own greed and grow and grow. Eventually, the Lord God said, "If you eat, you will die," and Hawa eats it with her own hands and mouth.
What were the consequences of this action?
This result comes from Genesis 3:16-19. In other words, the Spirit of the Lord God, who was with us in the human body from the time we created man until then, has left. As a result, the relationship with the Lord God was cut off. And since then the important message from the Lord God has become impossible to interpret, unknown, and directly governed by Satan.
Are there any other results?
Yes, there are a lot for failing to interpret the word of the Lord God to man. Man could not control himself, and he became God himself, and his greedy desire grew to infinity. Also, the human body inevitably goes to the process of dying and eventually dies. And the physical death of man was not the end of everything. But after death, he was judged forever by the Lord God regardless of human will.
Is there anything else?
Yes, we lived in a wild world where we had only our own thoughts and experiences, and we had to sweat and work throughout our lives to make ends meet.
Aren't these unfortunate events that only happened during the time of Adam and Hawa? Doesn't it have nothing to do with me in 2023?
No, these unfortunate events are not just a one-off event that happened during Adam and Hawa, but they are inevitably inherited by all subsequent humans. Paul declares that 2,000 years ago, people in the Ephesus region are inevitably genetically influenced as above. It's the verse in Ephesians 2:2. Then you do it in the midst of it and follow the trend of this world. And so this phrase continues genetically and necessarily to each person around the world, even now, in 2023 where we live.
Isn't this misfortune diminishing or disappearing as modern scientific civilization develops?
No, this misfortune does not diminish, nor does it disappear naturally. It doesn't disappear just because I forget. I strongly believe that the more scientific civilization that we believe to be modern gods develops, the less this misfortune decreases. But it is increasing continuously. Jesus, the Christ, declares in Matthew 11:28 that hard work and heavy loaders, in other words, he knows and calls the people who are suffering from this misfortune.
Did Christ say anything else?
Yes, there are countless, but to introduce one more passage, Matthew 12:44 says, "The house is empty, cleaned and remodeled." This can be interpreted as saying that even if humans clean up and remodel well with all their wisdom, knowledge, experience, and science, unhappiness continues to increase and accumulate.
Then, if the problems pile up and increase, of course, there will be more misfortunes for humans. Why doesn't this misfortune go away?
Yes, the reason is that human greed continues to be active because it lives unsanctioned, because the existence that brings misfortune is still alive, and it continues to expand its sphere of activity, and it is busily moving 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Also, humans can only do partial activities due to physical limitations. But this existence is not only incomparable to humans, but it is still active without rest. But what's even more unfortunate is that humans don't believe in this existence, because they can't see it with their own two eyes except the Bible.
I'm suddenly angry. What's the name of that being?
This existence is only exposed in the Bible, so it's called a lot of different names. For example, in the human world, one person is connected to many people, so it is called various names in relationships with others. If Mr. is called by various names, such as Choi, Mr. Choi's son, student, athlete, church saint, young man, and the youngest, depending on the person you meet. Likewise, this being is called Satan first, which means an anti-revolutionary who interferes with the work of the Lord God in his relationship with God. Or it's called the devil, which means the deceiver in the relationship with the person, the one who disrupts the relationship with the person and alienates each other. There's another thing you need to know. This existence is said to be the devil's servants and ghosts. These beings operate directly and indirectly in frontline sites where people live, and by producing and distributing fake news to people, they are tricked into living, or they act directly, causing people to get physical and mental illnesses of unknown causes, or being obsessed with a lot of religions.
Since when have Satan, or demons and ghosts appeared in humans?
Yes, only the Bible reveals exactly and clearly when these beings have emerged, what activities they're doing, whether they're really evil. To know this, we need vision that we can see until we are born into the world and faith through the help of the Lord God.
Who made Satan, or demons and ghosts, and how did they appear in humans?
Yes, these beings were created by the Lord God. But it's revealed in the Bible that some of these angels are corrupted. It's in Ezekiel 28:15, the injustice has been revealed from you. And the story of these beings being driven from heaven into the air of this world is in Ephesians 2:2, following the trend of this world and following the power of the air. And eventually, these beings appear on the planet where humans live, and they appear directly in human history, and then they're destroying humans.
What will happen to Satan or the devil and the ghosts?
Yes, these beings are already destined for eternal punishment, hell. It is written in Matthew 25:41, "Leave me and enter the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his lions."
Yes, what are the causes of human misery so far? Why can't humans solve it on their own? We learned about